Oh, we're not going to hear his wrestling the whole show, are we?
No, he didn't mute it.
Oh, okay. Not going to hear his wrestling the whole show, are we?
No, he didn't mute it.
Oh, okay.
What's up, everyone? Mike Giorgio here from the East Coast, a.k.a. I Got This. Another episode of the Fiend Cast. I'm here with a couple of Canadian brothers. Gentlemen.
Hey, what's up, guys? It's Serial Killer, Andy. Just glad to be back. Glad to have another Sunday show. So excited about this.
What up, Chad, a.k.a. the Canadian Geek here. Happy to be back. Let's get into it, boys.
Sounds good.
Yeah, so we got it's been a while, obviously, and there's a lot of things that have happened in the past month or so that we're just going to skip a lot of it and jump right into the most recent news. I think the first thing we want to talk about a little bit here is open enrollment. And, you know, as everyone knows, it's April, and today is April 7th. And as far as the East Coast goes, it's 9:02 p.m., so you got a few hours before we close open enrollment. So if you haven't done it yet, you might as well not. You might as well just wait for the next round. But any thoughts about this open enrollment this year, boys?
Go ahead, Chad.
I mean, out of the usual, no, we had some good applicants. We had a chat with a bunch of them, you know, with as many as that wanted to be in it. You know, discuss things, get to know them, just shoot the shit, bust their balls a little, and you know, be there to field any questions. Other than that, like, it was pretty much kind of you know, regular day, you know, as far as enrollment goes. But yeah, you touched on a good subject. Yeah, if you're waiting until today to apply, you know, probably not. Probably just wait out. Talk to us. Keep talking to us. Message us. Do all the things you want to do, and then probably in October be your best bet to re-up and see what happens there. But that's pretty much it.
Yeah, I've been getting people like hitting me up, DMing me that I haven't talked at all for the last month. And if you guys are just applying now and reaching out to us now, you might be a little bit behind on the game, just for the fact that there have been guys that have been talking to us for a while now. We've gone to know them and gone to a lot of them just become friends with on the side, even if they're not on the club or in the club. So that's what you have to be doing from this point until October is don't get upset if you don't get in. Just keep hitting us up, keep talking to us, keep befriending us. Make it impossible for us to say no to you next time, because we built that relationship. And that's what you got to do. Don't get discouraged.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I mean, if you started hitting us up, you know, 2 weeks ago, and then you don't make it this round, and then you stop posting and you don't start posting till September when next enrollment comes around in October, like, we look at that stuff. We go through your profiles. We look at your posts. We look at what you're doing, what you've been doing. And, I mean, you don't have to post 50 memes a day, unlike some people. But, like, you just got to be active. Talk to us. And just to give you a little, like, thought, like Chad mentioned chats earlier, like, for the East Coast, and I know a lot of places do this as well, a lot of chapters do this, but we had an enrollment chat that we set up on Facebook with a bunch of people who were hitting us up before open enrollment even started. So, like, yeah, you know, they're already there. They're already ahead of the curve because they started hitting us up and we noticed them. So we said, all right, we're going to take these handful of people and throw them in a chat and beat them up and see how they handle it. Because those chats are brutal. So, yeah, keep up with us, definitely.
Yeah. And, I was just going to say, I'm just going to go first. Like, I've been seeing some hopefuls putting up some, like, really interesting ways to make themselves stand out. I saw this one, Scully182 made a sign saying he's a hopeful, winning some scenic shit, and started posting pictures of him with a beautiful scenic view in the back and the sign. So things like that stand out. Doesn't mean it's going to guarantee that you get in, but I remember seeing that. I remember his name now. So you guys really need to start doing shit like that, because just tagging us in your books and this and that, it's cool. But I want to see some passion and make sure that we're letting the right people into this club. So keep that in mind if you don't get in, and going into October, get fucking creative.
Yeah, for sure. Like, yeah, make us remember you. You know, you don't necessarily have to scale a mountain like he did, but the thing I was going to say is, yeah, it definitely helped.
It helped to remember. Yeah.
The thing I was going to say is, especially for April, because who knows in the future? Who knows if we're going to go down to one enrollment a year because the size are getting? Who knows what's going on? But especially for enrollment, it's typically the smaller enrollment time. So if you don't get in, don't get discouraged, because it's not like we didn't like you or the chapter didn't like you. It's just it could have been between you and 4 other people that were all, you know, like if we could pick 4, we'd all pick you. But we can only pick 1 or 2, and we picked 1 or 2, and you were number 3. So don't get discouraged and be like, oh, I didn't get in. It sucks. Just, yeah, you know, it sucks. It does suck if you don't get in, but just stick with it, you know, and come back next enrollment, because, like Andy said, like Mike said, we keep lists and we have long memories. So, you know, we'll remember, oh, this guy hit us up in April or in end of March and April, and he was really good. He just didn't, you know, he didn't lose out. He just got beat up by guys who just did 1 or 2 little things that we liked better, but we still liked him, you know, and keep hitting us up and keep bugging us, man. It's persistence another way too. So.
Absolutely. Totally agree. So get in there and get in there early. So a few other things on the agenda tonight. I say one of the things that's got me most excited right now is the Joker trailer. I can't even count how many times I've watched it so far since it first came out. We are sans Juan tonight. He's out watching some guys in tights roll around on the ground. So we can show the trailer here, but I just want to get everybody's initial thoughts. And I know a lot of people were talking when all the pictures were being released early, and a lot of people had thoughts. But Andy, you want to go first?
Yeah, I think one of the things that the trailer did is allowed us to just capture the vibe of what Phillips is going for. It definitely feels like grounded in reality and a movie that basically captures the vibe of what I guess like mental health, and it's kind of hard to explain. It's very serious. And I like it. It's that whole character study that they're promising us, where it's a lower budget movie that is totally dependent on studying the character of the Joker. And I think that it's going to be a refreshing change to this whole comic book movie genre.
Yeah, you know, I agree with that, definitely. And coming from Todd Phillips, like, this guy made Old School, he made the Hangover series, so it's totally like a 180 from the stuff he regularly does. But touching on how it's more of a serious, especially with the mental health, I'm wondering, you know, and I was just thought of this question. I wonder if this will help not only DC but Marvel even look at characters, you know, because you got characters like the Joker, obviously, but even characters like Moon Knight on Marvel, who has mental issues, who thinks he's a superhero and he isn't, but he's got those split personalities. I wonder if it's going to open the door for their companies to explore those characters more, where in the past they might have been like, you know, the market or whatever right now is not really open to that kind of movie. I wonder if this is successful, because for me, I'm very intrigued. It's a very different take on it, and it's a very interesting take on it. And I love Joaquin Phoenix. I said from the go, when they announced him, I was like, this is going to be awesome, because he's one of those actors who can just turn it on. Whatever role it is, if he dives into it with both feet, it's going to be amazing. So I'm really interested to see the movie itself, how it does and how it is, and what it helps open the doors to in the future as far as other properties to be made for characters that or teams or whatever that they wouldn't have necessarily done before because of the mental health connotations that would have been with that character. So I'm really excited.
Yeah, you guys pretty much hit on everything. I mean, I think Joaquin Phoenix is going to be perfect in this.
That laugh of his gave me chills.
Yeah, so the one on the subway was awesome, but the one where he's in normal, no makeup, and he just makes that quick quick cackle, and he's like, that was just like, I can see how like that's going to progress. Like, I feel like something we're going to see in this movie is like the progression of this laugh from like starting little like ha ha, into like these long outbursts of laughter, like you see in the comics all the time. You'll start with like Joker, and it'll be like do little ha ha around his head, and then it just becomes that cackle.
One more thing that like I really liked about the trailer, and I hope it kind of continues on into the movie, is they really took. I guess they filmed it all in New York, right? They really took the city, and they're making it look like it's a big character in the movie too. Just the way that they're cinematics working in the trailer, they really do make it seem like Gotham itself is a character in the film. So I'm really excited about just seeing their portray of what Gotham looks like, and how it's everything's going to shit in Gotham.
Yeah, they definitely show, especially when they show like Arkham Asylum, which is shown differently than we've seen it before.
Arkham State Hospital, right?
Yeah, Arkham State Hospital. Yeah, and I saw an interesting Instagram when I went back and I watched the trailer 3 or 4 times. Is this user brought up that the fact, if you look at the trailer, when the trailer has a lighter tone and you think he's getting healthier, he's getting better, he's happier, it shows him ascending that big ass long thing of steps into the light sky. And when he starts getting sad and depressed and a little crazier, the trailer shows him walking down that same set of steps into darkness.
Yeah.
So it's this really interesting view. If you watch out for those sort of things, because those kind of metaphors will be all over this movie, I guarantee.
Oh yeah, I think this movie's gonna be full of that. And we all are assuming that little boy is Bruce Wayne. Yes.
I mean,
he's on the cast list as Bruce Wayne, so I'm assuming.
Yeah.
Bruce Wayne is cast, Thomas Wayne is cast, and I think.
Right. Yeah.
Thomas Wayne's that guy that's on TV talking about people that put on masks and stuff like that. That's the guy who plays Thomas Wayne. But I mean, the age is a little off by a lot. But I mean, it's still interesting to see what this self-contained story is going to do.
Yeah, I remember reading one of the things that stood out to me. I mean, obviously after watching all this, but I don't know if it was on Instagram on someone's post or something, but I saw someone post that, and it was a quick little thing, and it just said, 1989, make a Joker, throw him in a vat of chemicals, and then 2019 to make a Joker, throw him into society. And it was like, oh, that's exactly what this movie's going to be about. Just like somebody who's trying to make people laugh and do good, and then just be pulled out of it, which is, the Killing Joke essentially. So
yeah, everyone on the chat's kind of talking about, is it going to be rated R? Has anyone heard if it is rated R? I don't think anything's been said yet.
It's got to be, right? I mean, how could it not?
Even if there's not crazy, I don't think we're going to see crazy violence or even gory violence throughout, but I think there's going to be 1 or maybe 2 scenes out of nowhere that are just like crazy as fuck. Like, he'll just be sitting there, and when his mind snaps, that point when he goes from, his name's Arthur or something in the movie, when he goes from Arthur to becoming the Joker, he's just reach out and slit someone's throat at the bar. So I think the scene we see him snap is going to be just a crazy scene that's going to leave everybody going, holy shit.
I know. I want to see that subway scene where those 3 dudes in suits start beating the shit out, and he gets back up and pulls out a pocket knife and just starts stabbing them and going nuts, something like that. There needs to be that scene where he just, it can't be anything less than rated R. I feel.
Yeah, guys, while we're doing this too, I'll read and mind what's going on in the chat, and if they have any questions or anything like that, I'll bring them up. All right.
Yeah, and maybe we'll talk about Hellboy Fuzz.
Yeah.
And there's also the interesting cool thing is, I wonder if it's going to show that subway scene. He comes out of the train, and it looks like he's got followers. It looks like he's got people that rush the cops, and he's able to squeak through and pull his mask off before he disappears in the crowd. So there's a lot. It looks like it's going to be a more kind of stripped down comic book movie especially. But I think there's going to be a lot going on.
Have any of you guys watched The King of Comedy?
A long time ago.
With
De Niro?
Yeah, where he kidnaps a talk show host and trying to get his big break as a comedian and stuff like that. So it really has that vibe as well. So it's interesting.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. So obviously a lot of good feelings about that, and God, I hope it holds up. I feel like it will. So moving on to some lighter news here. Major X. So
Wow.
obviously,
Fucking
yeah,
Rob
wow. So I think there's I don't know about everybody else, but in the East chapter, there's a feeling about Mr. Feet himself. Not the greatest feeling, but so anyway, moving on. Rob Liefeld created a new character, Major X, as we all know. Major X #1 came out this past Wednesday, and everything started exploding pretty much instantly on Twitter and everywhere else. There's a few controversies. I think I know of one, and Andy had spoken about one as well. That I didn't know there was two actually. But do you want to start off with
Yeah.
what was his name? Crossfire.
Well, yeah. There was one like one of my friends from our chapter, mine and Chad's chapter, Werewolf by Moon Knight, brought this to our attention. He said that there was this artist by the name of Santa Benias. I believe that's how you pronounce his name. Sorry, brother, if I'm wrong. But back in the mid '90s, he created this character named Crossfire. Real indie shit. Like no one's heard about it except if you just follow this guy. But if you guys look him up on social media, he's been posting all over the place pictures of the original artwork, concept art of this character. And he goes by the creator of the real Major X. That's like what it says underneath his account on IG. And Rob Liefeld has actually, I think he's feeding into it because he's actually getting into a debate with him about things to the point where he wrote, "Have you seen Cyclops since 2010? You're using his helmet." So I don't think Rob has caught on to the fact that this character predates all that shit.
Yeah, he said like 92, right?
Yeah, 1992.
Yeah.
So it's interesting. I mean, can two minds, who are into this thing that we love, come up with the same concept without ever knowing, one another's work? Probably. But there is a lot of resemblance, and it does look very similar. So I can see why fans of this guy are bringing it up. But I don't know. I don't know if Rob Liefeld copied this guy's shit.
I mean, obviously, we all know that like Liefeld has been accused of pretty much, of Deadpool and Deathstroke and many other things and whatever. I think it's always possible. You look at all of comic books, especially DC and Marvel. There's always an answer for another character. You see it everywhere. I mean, it exists, whether it was a blatant rip off or if it was just like similar costumes or whatever. I gotta think that Rob Liefeld, I don't know, if he probably sketched this down somewhere in like the 90s because he saw that comic book come out and then went through his sketchbook and found this and put it back out. Like, I don't really care either way. I think what it comes down to is like, it's a shitty character, and who really wants a new character by Rob Liefeld now, like, to enter anything? Like,
I refuse.
That's
to
the
buy
last
that
thing we need. we have enough bullshit to deal with and sort out, and I just don't think that we need it at all. I don't know what the hell they're thinking by allowing this comic to come out. That's really what I feel like.
And the controversy that you're going to bring up just kind of fucks up everything.
Yeah, right.
Go ahead, Chad.
So, Chad,
I'm getting a poor connection thing, so I couldn't tell if I was being frozen out. But I think it was anybody but Rob Liefeld, there wouldn't be any of the controversy. But the problem is he comes out trying to be fucking Mr. Big Dick Energy, going, "I'm not going to sign this, and I'm not going to sign this, and this, and this, and this."
Well, right.
And it's like, one, we have proof. We have people. We have yourself who have admitted stealing characters in the past. So there's strike number one. Two, you're an asshole who can't draw anymore. Have you seen the cover of Major X? Motherfucker draws a straight gun like we used to do when we were 3 years old. The metal is perfectly straight, like he has a piece of wood with a handle on it. That's
or
what, Superman. it looks like shit, but it's how he handled it. Like, he could have been like, you know, and even if he's lying, you'd be like, listen, I see so many, because artists, a lot of artists, people who've been to cons don't know, but if you've been to a con, thousands and thousands of artists, of professional artists, see other thousands and thousands of artists at cons every year, and they're all bringing their portfolios, and they're all going, can you check my work? And eventually something's going to stick in your synapses. Oh, that's a really cool thing, and you like it, so it sticks in there. And then when you're drawing, you don't even know, shit just kind of filters in, and your brain goes, oh, remember that picture you saw? Let's focus that, let's bring this in. Now, in the case of Rob Liefeld, I wholeheartedly think he probably stole it because he's a dick. But that happened. So I think it was Andy who was saying, I don't know, two people can think alike. I think a lot of artists and even fans, like, you go to fan going, give me 4 characters from this whatever that you might like to in a team together. Odds are you'll get a lot of people who name the same 4 guys. So I think a lot of artists can look at a thing or think of the same idea or costume color, like Mike said. But if he was just to handle it better, it would be so much better. But he's like blatantly going, oh, you're ripping me off. And say, well, Rob, you admitted to ripping people off in the past.
Right.
So who are you calling a rip-off artist? And this guy, like Andy said, this guy's stuff predates the Cyclops you're talking about, and it predates your character by over 20 years. Yeah. So, if it wasn't Liefeld, I don't think there'd be a controversy.
I mean, personally, I think that the guy kind of got inspiration from Judge Dredd, like back in the early 90s. So that's...
Yeah. And like you said, you see a costume and you like it, and another artist, the odds that another artist will see a costume that they like is totally plausible, and it just works. But again, he could have handled it so much better in this whole, I don't know if you guys, the other controversy you've seen where he says, it's not this book that's the first appearance, it's this book.
Yeah, and so that's the other side of it. Yeah.
I'll let you, that's your point, I'll let you take it.
Yeah, no, so I mean, the part that I saw, like, over all this was, I don't know if you guys, I follow Key Collector, I use the app, and I follow them on Instagram, and I saw them posting a bunch of shit about this. And so apparently, Spider-Man Deadpool 47 came out, and that came out a week earlier than 2 weeks earlier. And it wasn't just 2 weeks. So it was Major X, but the week before Major X, Rob Liefeld released a variant cover for Deadpool that you can only buy on his website, and it was Major X, and it was Major X on the cover. So you have Major X on the cover of a Deadpool mag that someone else is writing, and then he's trying to call that the first cover appearance of Major X. But then there's this other random artist at Marvel who draws Spider-Man Deadpool 47 and was told to put some background characters in it. And he literally picked Major X because he's like, oh, here's a new character that's coming out in a few weeks. I'm going to grab that cameo. And he did it, and he predates Liefeld stuff. And he lost his mind. And he wrote this huge thing that I will not sign any Spider-Man Deadpool 47s and blah, 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 and just went off and then started blocking a bunch of people. And that's just what you said, Chad. Handle it like a man. Like, walk over, sign your one free cig and hand it away and smile and say, thank you. Thank you for buying comics. Just be a good person about it.
Yeah, and the artist, I felt bad because the artist is like, look, I apologize. I was told by Marvel I could use these characters. So it's like, hey, Rob, if you don't want your character being shown to the public before your own book number 1 comes out, he could have said, hey, Marvel, don't let anybody use this. But Marvel goes, yeah, go ahead, use it. So as far as this artist knows, Rob signed off on Marvel allowing other artists to use it. So it could have been someone as simple as Rob could have been like, hey, man, what happened? Oh, Marvel said I could use it. Okay, cool. And Rob could have directed his douchebaggery towards Marvel executives going, why did you let this, if he didn't do anything. So again, Rob is directing his anger and his frustration at an artist who was given the green light by Marvel, who is totally innocent of any wrongdoing, intentionally, of trying to screw up anything for Major X.
Yeah, I mean, it's clear that, like, he was just trying to grab, because he's charging $100 for those witness SIGs, so he wants everybody to walk up and hand him 2 or 3 of each of those books for the first cameo and the first appearance of and get those cigs, and he's pissed now because he lost that, and it's all about money for him, and that's what's shitty, you know.
Yeah, exactly.
That cocaine's not going to buy itself.
Yeah, exactly. Scully C in the chat, I gotta say this is hilarious. He said Key Collector said they would doodle a Deadpool on your copies of Spider-Man Deadpool 47 for free.
That's nice. That's nice.
That's hilarious. Yeah, so yeah, I think that's about really all I can talk about that, man.
No, one more thing.
Yeah, go ahead.
Major X fucking sucks. Anyways.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Let's move on. Fuck Major X.
Yeah.
So we had a big DC movie just drop, Shazam. Lot of different.
Please.
Oh, beautiful. dead balloon. So I'm not sure if either of you saw Shazam. But I did not. So, no. Andy, I've heard a lot about it, and I've heard a lot of mixed reviews. And I don't really watch too many trailers except for, certain things. I didn't really follow with the trailers on this. So, but first impressions, no spoilers.
I mean, personally, I feel like this isn't a movie that a lot of people that at least I've talked to in the club have run out to go watch. So, I think people are interested in it. I just don't think that it's on the top of their list of things to do right now. So it's totally cool if no one has seen it. I'm not going to spoil anything. My impressions is it's a fun movie. I would not put it in my top 10 comic book movies of all time. It's just, if you guys have seen the movie Big, picture Big with a superhero. And you can pretty much figure out how that's going to be. It's got a lot of Easter eggs to do with the Justice League, to do with Superman, to do with Batman. So it's very much set in that Justice League world. But it's fun. It's fun. That's the only word I can really say about it. And but there are some dark moments when you're watching this where you're like, how the fuck is this a family movie? And then there's this one part like closer to the end where it gets very real for a second, and I don't know, for me it just kind of depressed me for a split second when I'm like, this is too real and I feel way too bad for this kid right now, and it just didn't feel like it fit in in the movie that Shazam was. But whatever, I'm sure it had to be in there. But it's a good movie. I think it's DC has just knocked another one out of the park compared to the shit that they were putting out before. And I like the road that DC is taking, especially since they're not taking themselves too seriously anymore. And that's awesome.
Yeah. I mean, I'm glad to hear all those things. I think for a lot of people, Shazam is not, like you said, not a character that they really know about or whatever. But I wonder if this movie hurts by the time it was released, Mm-hmm. I feel like something like Shazam, that kind of character, he's almost like that, I don't want to say Superman, but he's that, he's that goody, that Boy Scout kind of character. Almost like, I feel like if this dropped in like July, right around like 4th of July, especially for, in America or whatever, but like just summertime, like
it's
feel
a
good type
movie. The story takes place in Christmas.
Really?
Yeah. So that's the part that I kind of was just like, why didn't they just release this in Christmas? Because the whole vibe is Christmas lights, Christmas this, Christmas everything, really? family. So it feels like a Christmas movie.
It came out in March, huh?
Yeah.
Okay.
But I get what you're saying.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, I mean, I just figured like this would be that big feel-good movie of the summer type thing. As far as I
will say, avoid looking up the cast in this movie because I was curious and I looked it up, and there is definitely a lot of spoilers under the names of the characters. Especially something that happens in the end that for some reason was not expecting to see it. And then it happens, and I'm like, okay, so I'm glad I didn't look up the cast until after I saw the movie, because that would have spoiled that surprise for me.
So, yeah, I don't. Chad, you didn't see the movie, did you?
No, I think I ruined it for myself. I know there's one or two spoilers at the end. I know the one Andy's talking about. But everything I've read on it is everybody's loving it. I questioned it, like you said, it is a Christmas movie. And looking at the slate of movies coming out this year, I don't think there's a Marvel movie coming out in the fall or near Christmas. And I don't think, I could be wrong, I don't think there's a DC one coming out this year either. So it would have probably benefited.
Wonder Woman?
What's that?
Wonder Woman 84?
Is that out this year or if that was next year?
That's two. I think that's 19.
Yeah, it's got to be.
Yeah.
Okay, then that's why. But yeah, I think it's good though. I think it comes out a few weeks after Captain Marvel, and a month before Infinity War, and it's not going to be competing with those big summer blockbusters. And it's introducing a new character, so I think they'll do pretty good. I've heard good things. It's tracking like 20% better than Captain Marvel did on Rotten Tomatoes. So, take it from that way you will. I'm interested. I'm probably going to go see it this week. I don't think I'll take my 6-year-old. It's because I heard it's a little dark in some parts, but
it's fucking dark. Like there's this one like death where you're like, man, that's way more gruesome than it should be for a family movie.
Yeah. So I'm interested to see it though. So I will end up checking it out.
Yeah, I'll definitely get around to seeing it sooner than later, probably. All right. So, yeah, I think that that covers a lot of the more recent stuff as far as the movies coming out. We had a quick update, I would say, for everybody out there on. We got a bunch of cons that just happened, and a bunch of cons coming up. So I know that there was C2E2 in Chicago a couple weeks ago, and a huge turnout on club members that came out from everywhere. I think we had Midwest, East, Canadian, and South. Is that correct?
No, we didn't make it out to that.
Sure.
We had the Toronto
No
con.
Canadian? Okay.
We had the Toronto con in mid March, so we all went to that. Well, whoever lived in Ontario.
Yeah.
So that was a lot of people got some huge books out there. You should go check out the IG page to see any of those pickups. And then a huge turnout for the West Coast chapter, and Capes and Collectibles out of the UK flew all the way from the UK to Anaheim, got picked up by club president Merc with a beard, drove him to the con, and they hung out. So that shows you the dedication that you kind of need to be a part of this club, Thought it was awesome. Again, they got all their pickups posted on the IG. And anything about those cons, gentlemen, or any cons you went to recently?
I will say that I always love to see when everyone's together at a con. I love seeing the pictures. I love seeing the live feeds. It just reminds us of how big this club is getting, and kind of what like the boys were talking about, Aaron and Steve on the chat that they did not too long ago, how at any given point in time, we could be in a state or in a city, and there might be a chance that a Fiend's out there for you to connect with. So it's awesome to see that going on in cons, and it's awesome to see people from the international chapter come over. That was amazing.
Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah, that's awesome.
I mean, I remember. I guess shout out to Gem Mint because they shouted us out on their podcast.
Absolutely.
They were even like shocked and surprised and they're like, motherfuckers are coming from Europe over here. They got Fiends all over the world now. So it's cool that people even from outside of the club are seeing that shit and seeing how we're growing and how those connections are going worldwide. So it's awesome to see that at cons.
Yeah, no, it's awesome. Especially the only thing that sucks is it's like bittersweet because especially for Baltimore, like last year, I had never been to a big con in the States, so I've been looking to go for one for a long time. So like a year and a half ago, like literally even right after I got in, like November 2017, December, January, I started bugging like, hey guys, I want to go to Baltimore this year. I want to do my first big con. I started harping everybody, bugging every week. So we got we ended up having like 8 or 9 guys. And of course, some of the guys had their wives with them. We all went to Baltimore last year, and it's awesome. And it sucks because it's months and months of build up. And yeah, we're gonna do this, and it'll be awesome to hang out. It's amazing to finally meet all these guys in real life, and then it's over. You blink and okay, it's 4 days later. The con's over. You're going oh man. So it's fun to see them that they really enjoyed themselves, especially Cape and Collectibles coming over. It looks like he really enjoyed himself getting to meet these guys. Because when you talk to people, and that's especially with enrollment and the family aspect. It's not like the weird online days of the early 2000s. When you talk to someone, you don't see them, you don't know what the hell. 2019, we're involved in each other's lives, to different points to each different member, but, to a lot of points on every member. So you get really involved in people's personal lives. Their struggles. They're, to a point of, if they're struggling financially or emotionally or, problems at work. This is stuff we share with everybody. So it's really awesome when you've been talking to people, guys, for so long in vid chats and stuff, and you finally get to meet them. It's almost like meeting a long lost family member.
Yeah.
So it's it's nice to see that they appreciate it, and then they take the time to experience the moment at these cons of hanging out and just going for, I think Capes and they brought him to Disneyland, and then they brought him to a taco stand and stuff he's not going to get really in the UK. So it was fun to see those interactions. So it's something to really look forward to. So I hope everybody is able to do that and really get out there and meet guys. And even if you're not in the club, man, come meet us at a con. It's awesome to meet fans of the genre and of everything that we love.
Yeah, it was. The funny thing was I had the weirdest experience at the con that we went to in Toronto, because there was this one point where me and Jay Chala are just going through some bins, looking at some books, and some random kid goes up to Jay and totally knows who he is just based on off IG. And was yo, you're Jay Chala and shit like that. And you're just man, people that aren't even part of the club, when they reach out to us, start talking, comics with us, they'll realize that, we're just people that love hanging out with other regular people and talk books. And it's not going to tell you to fuck off or anything like that. We're not dicks like that.
Yeah. I mean, the best example of that is Juan, Ink Jedi. He tells the story about someone right now who's an enrollee for the East Coast. I can't remember who it is. He was at a con. I think it might have been Baltimore. He was at a con. It was the end of the day. They were super hungover. It was the last day of the con, and he's walking towards the exit to leave. And someone comes up to him and is just "Oh, you're Ink Jedi. What's up? I'm trying to get in the club." And he's just turns around and starts talking to him, and he goes, "You don't really look like you want to talk to me." He goes, "No, I definitely want to talk to you. I stopped." He goes, "I'm just really, really, really fucking hungover." But that's it. It's and I don't know if it was Baltimore or whatever, but it's Sunday at a con. You're walking out. You just spent all your money. You're stoked. You got that adrenaline is kind of starting to fade off. Whatever.
Fucking feet
friends. Yeah, whatever. Everything. All that shit. And somebody walks up to you and starts talking to you, and there you go. You have an officer who turns around and has a conversation with that person and remembered it, and we all do that. We'll this. I haven't been to a con since I've gotten in, but I have no doubt that I will be happy to do that with anyone I meet.
Oh yeah, and just answering so many vendors and people have questions about what the fuck is this? This thing that you guys are in, and when you explain it to them, people want cards, they want stickers, they want contacts, they want to figure out what's going on. And it's amazing just to be an ambassador for the Comic Book Fiend Club at cons, especially.
Yeah. So speaking of that, few upcoming cons, I know the East Coast chapter, and we have a big con coming up. Well, relatively big, but big as far as attendance going. East Coast Comic Con in North Jersey. There's going to be a whole bunch of people there from the East Coast, and I know there's going to be some hopefuls there, but you'll have I'm going to be there. I know Ink Jedi Juan's going to be there. Nerdy and Inked, his wife Jen will be there. Wolf and Chris Dollar Bin Bandit. Will's Collector Lounge. I know the Hillbillies driving up for a night. I think he's going to drive up from West Virginia, and I don't mean Steve. I'm talking about Heath. um, I'm not sure if I missed anyone else. I think that's it. But there's like 7 or 8 of us going. Oh yes, Boogie is going, despite what he tells you, because he'll tell you every day that he's not going, but he's going. Boogie's going. And then I think there's a couple of hopefuls that are going to show up by that time. I don't know. Who knows? They might be already enrollees. They might be on the next wave. But
they might be trying to avoid fiends at the con so they didn't get in. Or some shit
we certainly won't be avoiding you. I mean, come up to us, talk to us. You know, it is like Chad said. If we pick 3, you might have been number 4. You know what I mean? So keep that conversation going. Outside of that, for me, I know that there's going to be Baltimore. I'm going to Baltimore this year. I already booked the hotel and everything. So I know there's a bunch of East Coast members going as well this year. Pretty much almost everyone that went last year and a few extra. So should be a big one. How about you guys? Anything you're looking forward to?
I know there's the big meetup con in Niagara Falls with some East Coast members and the Canadian members. So that's in, am I right? Early June, right, Chad? June.
Yeah, first June 6th, 7th, 8th.
There we go. I know we're all booked up for that and ready to go to that. Then there's always just like, next year being the 5th anniversary. I know a bunch of us are always talking, making plans to try and make it to getting as many members as possible to make it to one of the bigger cons, either WonderCon or C2E2 next year. So start thinking about that if you're a Fiend already. And if you can make that, I'm going to be pushing to see how many of us I can get to make it out to those cons next year, or at least one of them.
Yeah. Chicago will be a big one. Yeah, we got Niagara. We're going to have Drew, a.k.a. Friendly Face Viking, and his wife are coming to Niagara. Juan, Ink Jedi, and Nerdy and Inked is coming to that one, so that'll be a good one. And yeah, next year is the big one in C2E2. So,
5th anniversary, right?
Yeah, 5th anniversary. So we're going to try to. We've been talking for a while, trying to get seeing. It's just because Chicago, like most central, I think, if my geography's remembering well enough, would be like Kansas City. Well, there's not a big con in Kansas City, so Chicago is a big con. A lot of West guys can fly into O'Hare Airport. Everybody else, Canada can fly into Chicago. It's cheap, pretty cheap, and East Coast can fly into Chicago. South can fly into. Everybody can get into Chicago pretty quickly, pretty easily. So, it'll be pretty exciting if we can see how many members we can get to go to that one.
Yeah, I just wanted to point out too that Heath's in the chat, and I was reading a few, but Heath was so Hillbilly Collector. He was a part of the East Coast. He is part of the East Coast. He was the one who walked up to Juan at that con, and he was the one who bothered him, started talking to him, and going all crazy and asking all these questions. And here he is. He's a member, so that shit goes a long way.
He gave me and Steve a few free copies of Roughneck by Jeff Lemire.
Sounds about right. Yeah. So hit up cons, come talk to us. If you're going to be at a local con, hit us up on IG. Let us know. Shoot us a message. We'll definitely look out for you. We'd love to say hi. Throw you guys, get some pictures, throw some stickers.
Yeah. And don't be afraid. If you see us at a con, you see a member not wearing their cut, don't be afraid to call that son of a bitch out.
Or anywhere. Shit.
Yeah, exactly.
You're probably going to see a lot of people wearing their cut by the end of the month for the end game. So call that shit out if you don't see them wearing their cut for that movie either.
Yeah, exactly. Ain't you a fiend? Where's your cut, bitch?
So outside of that, I mean, the last thing I really got for the night is kind of the thing I'm most excited for outside of the Joker trailer. And I just wanted to touch on, Tech 1000 and just talk about maybe some of the stories. What were your favorites? Which covers did you get? What were those? What covers were your favorites? Pretty much just go through that real quick. Any thoughts, gentlemen?
I'm going to be out of this one because I was strongly against being baited into buy not any covers because I know I have an extra gene, and I would probably be like fucking Steve when he was ordering, Batman 50 issues.
Yeah.
So I stayed away. So I'm gonna let you and Chad talk this out.
And these issues as well. Steve was like that with these issues. Trust me. Every day he's getting a new mail call with more.
Yeah, that doesn't surprise me.
So, I feel what you're talking about, man. I mean, I went hard on Batman 50. I went hard on Spider-Man 800 as well. And Action Comics 1000. I bought a few, but what did you say? But I love anniversary issues. I like the little anthology things. So I think more than anything for me, I think the story was, or the stories were awesome. Like, I love this kind of setup where they do these big issues, and it's like, just a bunch of like your favorite creators just doing short stories, 6-page, 7-page stories. And that was what I was most excited about, and it definitely delivered. But
I will say I do like the variety of everything, just because it allowed people that did want to go pick up the book to kind of pick and choose the covers that really fit more with the stuff that they collect on a regular basis. So that's always great to see. So you don't really have to pick up everything. You can pick up the stuff that you like and avoid the stuff that you don't. But I knew I couldn't do that.
Yeah, right. No self-control.
No self-control.
I like certain books that I'll buy the covers because I really like the cover art. I got the blank because I'll get drawings down, but I got the Capullo, the Jock, the Miller, and one other one. Capullo, Jock, the Miller, and one other one. I can't remember what it is now. But it just sucks. There's certain ones that are amazing, like Jason Fabok did an amazing cover. Dude's Canadian, and you can't even that's the only thing I don't like is like how they make them super exclusive and super expensive. It's like, man, you guys just you can't put out one of the, I get it, you gotta have a triple set or whatever. You can't put out like the regular trade dress color one for $10 like everybody else. It's gotta be $15, $20 or for the set. So they go a little crazy with some. Some of them are downright ugly. But a lot of the older ones are really cool. They're a nice throwback.
That Alex Ross one, man, Jesus.
Yeah, it's you know what? Here's the thing. I actually don't like the Ross one.
Really?
It's such a misuse of his talents to draw me a Batman that's that big on the cover. Now the other cover, I don't even have one because I don't spend $100 on the mother.
Your credibility as a comic book collector just went out the window.
No, it's not, because I'll tell you why. I don't know if it's the back cover that shows him, like the Batman. That's really nice. Like, how there's the other cover that shows Batman. Yeah. It's blue and black. That's really nice because it shows him. But the other cover, I'm just like, you're Alex Ross. You could do the craziest shit, the most amazing artwork, and you decide to do an homage to a great cover. But with your talents, you could have done so much more. So I wasn't a huge fan of that one, especially for the price point. If I'm spend $100 or more, if I'm buying it on the aftermarket, I want to see like your artwork. I don't want to see. You can see, if you look at it, you see more of mobsters on that cover than you do of Batman, because there's the two guys in the foreground with guns that are drawn, So, but yeah, some of them are really nice. Some of them are ugly. I really like the one I didn't get, but I really like the look of it. Is someone's got to correct me. I don't know who it was. I think it's the is it Tom? It's like the big Joker pointing his two guns down at little Batman or Robin.
Is that the Bruce Timm one?
Yeah, it's the Bruce Timm one.
Yeah, Bruce Timm.
I really liked it. I didn't get it.
I wanted that as well.
I really enjoyed the visual of how that looks. So
yeah, I didn't get the Bruce Timm. That's the one I wanted the most out of all of them. I was unfortunately I wasn't able to be at my my comic shop for that day. I was at work, but I'm really close with my comic book shop owner, Corey Comic Boom. So he was just like, pretty much let me know, like, he's like, so the first thing is I didn't pre-order anything, Andy, just for that same reason, because I would have just pre-ordered one of everything. But he just sent me a picture of everything he had, and I got the Capullo, the Jock, and one other one, and I don't recall even who it was. But what I did do,
Midnight variant one. That's the one that.
Yeah. See, I don't remember I know I got the Jock, and I know I got the Capullo one, which I was stoked about. But one thing I did do, which is something I don't normally do, but I just for some reason love this color. The Lucio Perillo Scorpion Comics exclusive. I think I pronounced that properly. They were selling signed, graded 9.8s versions of that, and it's such a gorgeous cover. And yeah, it was. So, and maybe I had a few in me and kept looking at it and was getting a little bit of pressure from everybody and saying, push the button, push the button, push the button. Yeah, Steve. But I bought that, and I bought that before anything else. And I was like, this is the only thing I'm going to buy. And I'm stoked on that purchase. So we'll see, because I won't get that for probably 6 months, because it's going to have to go to CGC and come back to them, and they're going to have to sort them out. Yeah. Yeah, no, 4 at least, right? But yeah, so I didn't get too many covers, but I did get one cover that yeah, was up there in price.
Well, save the guaranteed 9.8.
That's the way I look at it, man. Guaranteed 9.8 signature, and it's gorgeous. Check that cover out.
Yeah, Lucio Perillo does great work.
Yeah, absolutely. So stories, I mean, we favorite story, pick one. What do you think? I can go right off.
I was trying to fake it till I make it. I haven't read it yet. I tried the other night. I had a few wobbly pops in me. I didn't remember a few of the stories, so I was going to go back to it tonight. Yeah, no. Like, okay, I'll give it a second read. So,
I mean, yeah, we don't have to like go crazy, but I mean, I think, like, first of all, the lineup of everybody is awesome. I mean, you've got some of the best writers in comic books, and some of the best, obviously, some of the most influential artists for Batman specifically. Yeah. I mean, Neil Adams, Jim Lee, to say, and then you got Denny O'Neil and Steve Epting together. That was amazing. Snyder Capullo. I really, I think they also threw some curveballs out there. The Jeff Johns, Kelly Jones was great. And there's just nothing I would ever like. It's not a team I would ever think I would see in comic books. Not for
weird pairing. I wouldn't say weird. It's just a different pairing.
Yeah. So I thought it was good. Seeing Bendis and Malieve doing something again, which that art was absolutely gorgeous. But I think if it really came down to it, my favorite story was it was called Manufactured for Use. It was the second one, and it was Kevin Smith and Jim Lee.
Nice.
Yeah. And I have a soft, I love both those individuals for various different reasons. But the story essentially is, and spoiler alerts here, but the story was just so good. It was basically, first of all, it matches Malone, which is awesome. And you have, for those of you who don't know, Matches Malone is an alter ego that Bruce Wayne goes out to find out, and goes to the criminal underbelly and try and like sort out some things so people don't know who he is. And he goes to a pawn shop, and he's talking to this guy who has this collection of all of Batman's rogues gallery, all their spent artillery and all their like stuff they've left behind from crimes, whether it's their helmet or a suit or a gun or whatever. And he's looking through all this crazy stuff, and they show all this stuff, and they're talking about this time, whoever did what, and, the Penguin did this, and here's his umbrella. And then the thing he buys is the gun that killed his parents. And you get back, and Alfred is like, this is too much. You can't have this. And he's like, no, I'm going to make it into something to protect me. And he melts it down and makes it his chess piece. Nice. And it's just so fucking awesome. And I thought it was a great story.
On this podcast.
What's that?
I think I remember Kevin Smith and Mark Bernard talking about that very idea on his Batman Beyond podcast last year.
Really? Yeah.
Or something close to it.
I mean, it was smart. It was brilliant, and it was heartfelt, and it was Batman. Like it was everything I wanted to see. So yeah. How Andy? Did you read 1000?
No, I didn't purchase it, so I didn't read it.
You didn't buy one. Oh, you didn't buy any of them.
No. You know what I bought instead? I did not spend money on that, and I got a Fantastic Four 52 instead.
Oh, okay.
So, no, it's definitely something that I want to pick up eventually. And hit me up though, because I'm pretty sure my comic shop still has a lot of those variants. So if there's any that you're looking for, let me know, and I will see if they have it. I'm pretty sure they have some of the ones that you guys like. I remember seeing them last time I went in there on Friday. So, but eventually I'll get to it. But that story that you just talked about, that was awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds crazy.
Yeah, it was good. There's a bunch of other ones. Tom King's was awesome, and I just got to go back though. I think some of the best art in it was Alex Maleev in the Bendis and his story. It was just good. I've never seen him draw Batman before. I love everything he's ever done with Bendis. His artwork is just phenomenal, and he kind of drew the Penguin in that Batman Returns look. You know, that old school Danny DeVito Penguin and Tim Burton Penguin, and it was great. So a lot of good stories. I think there was like 10 short stories. Definitely pick it up, read it, however you need to. You know, grab the regular cover or the second print or whatever, and just sit down and read them. They're great stories. I definitely recommend it.
Yeah, for sure. And before, because I think you mentioned that might be the last thing we talked about. There's just one more thing to talk about. Is I do want to talk about how the Endgame tickets broke the internet, and how fucking crazy is getting out there with resale of tickets.
So when we started, it's crazy. When we started talking about that, I know that there was stuff for like the Chinese theater in Hollywood, and they were like reselling some of these tickets for like $1,500 a piece on eBay or whatever. And I couldn't believe it. And I looked it up, and the first thing I did was I started looking at sold prices on eBay, and fuck, man, sure enough, not even just posted tickets, but people actually bought. You know, I'm looking at one right now, just bought today. You know, 2 tickets for I don't even know, Lincoln Square, $200, $100 a piece to get. Yeah. And you know, it doesn't even tell you, like, you know, it doesn't even tell you the seat number. So it's like my question is, like, if I'm going to spend, first of all, I'm not going to do this, but if I'm going to spend $100, this is basically like turning into like going to a football game or something. You're scalping tickets, but like they're not even putting like the seat numbers or anything in there. Like, it's just ridiculous. It's stupid. It's the next level of eBay that just makes me want to stop buying more and more from them.
Yeah, well, it's like, I think a lot of people want to be the people who are willing to spend that much money on it. I think it's not that they don't want it. I think a lot of them don't want to have it spoiled for them, but I think a lot of them want to be part of the experience, to be there in like a huge packed arena. Because especially some of these kids, like, I'm 36. These came out in 2008. So like 11 years ago. So I was 25. So I was already like an adult, quote unquote. But
you're still not an adult.
You know, I'm still not an adult. Only an age. But for
Arrested
some
Development.
Like, some people, like, they were 10 years old or 16 years old in those formative years, started watching these movies. They've grown up with these movies. These movies, if they're like, a big fan of them, they've been a major part of their lives, and it's been like a 10-year, 11-year journey for them. So for them, like, for all that generation, like, holy shit, I want to be there. I got to be there with the whole huge crowd of people to experience it, you know. And fucking Kevin Feige is just counting the cheddar in the Disney Marvel offices. Like, just, I saw a meme today that made me laugh my ass off. It's like, it was a scene from Infinity War, and he's like, and had Kevin Feige's hands like, and what will you do after Endgame is released? You know, and it shows him like as Thanos, like, and I'll sit and watch the sun on a grateful sunset on the grateful universe. Cause like, you know, it's so crazy. Like, I
mean, you really think though that's who it is? You think that's who's spending a fucking couple $100 on a few?
No.
I mean,
no,
I don't.
I mean, I would hope that's.
You just think that
people who. It's just people who have money,
people who have money and are too lazy to like. They're just like, I want to go to this showing because all these other people I know are going, and I'll just buy them on eBay for whatever.
I think one thing we have to realize, like, this is probably for a lot of people, this generation's, I don't know, Star Wars or Empire Strikes Back, where everyone just wants to fucking be there for the opening day or like at least the opening weekend. I mean, you have people like Nerdy and Ink Jedi, like they have to go to another fucking state to watch it. Like they can't even watch it anywhere like close to like, their home. So it's important to a lot of people. And I know it's pretty bad. It's pretty bad in the UK. I heard the ticket sales are pretty bad in the UK, like as far as how much they're going for there.
Ladies and gentlemen, I live in the mountains in Vermont, and I have to drive to another state every day to do something.
Yeah.
So I'm going to New Hampshire to go see this at the local dump theater. It's not that bad, actually, but there's no recliners. There's no fucking waitresses. There's nothing like that. And the one thing No, because you know what? There's also nobody else there. It's quiet. And the seats are good, and the sound is good. I mean, it's just in the middle of nowhere. So I'll drive. I'll instead of waiting online and doing all that other shit, I'm just going to drive 30 minutes over the state border and go see it in peace with my vest.
Yeah. Well, Andy was mentioning it about like a get together earlier for Endgame, and there's myself, Jay Chawla, the Comic Archive and Dominion Collectibles, and Terry, his wife. We're getting together. And we're watching on the Friday night. Tickets sold out way too quick for me to go see it Thursday near me. But where I work a day shift on that Friday. I'll be up at 4:45 in the morning to drive to work as it's an hour away. I will work a 12-hour shift at a blue collar metal factory. Then I will drive at 7:00. I will drive an hour and a half to the theater I got to go to watch this. It's not on until 10:30. Trailers and all the other bullshit. The movie itself won't start till probably 11, if not after. It's 3 hours long. So 12, 1, 2 o'clock I'll get out. By the time if I was to drive all the way back home, I would just have to turn around and come back to work. So I'm just going to be driving. I'm going to take 2 lunches, so I have them at work already. I'll be driving from the theater to the parking lot at my work, sleep in my car, and get up 2 hours later and go to work.
That's
just so I can go see it with friends, because it does mean something. It's an experience that, so it's people, whatever, pay this. If they can, like, I'll pay this. And if I have to, I'll go here and, plane, train, automobile. I don't care how I'll get there. And it's awesome to see.
Chad, have you heard about the rumored end credit scene?
I've heard about a few rumored end credit scenes.
Have you heard about the Wolverine one?
The one I heard about, the one I heard about involved Wolverine. It was really weird one. I can't remember it correctly. I read on IG, the guy was like, and at the end of it, there'll be like a reference to him or to the X-Men. But
the rumor is, and I've heard this from sources that are in the business. All right.
Sources in the business.
Sources in the business. The rumor
like
is
works for Cineplex or.
The rumor is that the end credit scene is after everything's solved. Okay, so it's these muggers in an alley. They go to mug a guy, and all you hear is you don't see the guy, but you hear the claw come out. Yeah,
dude, I will fucking mess my pants if that happens.
That's the rumor. I don't know if it's true, but I've heard from a lot of different sources that's potentially what it might be.
Yeah, it would be awesome to do it because they don't. I've said this to hundreds of people who've talked to me about it. At this point, I don't think we're going to see any more in the MCU. I don't think we're going to see any reboots. As far as story origins, we've seen them all. We know Wolverines, we know the X-Men, we know Spider-Man. Like, we know them all. So I don't think we're going to get any new of these. Even Fantastic Four. All these characters that Disney now owns after they took control of Fox. I don't think we're going to see any new movies to reintroduce them. We all know the stories. Okay. Yeah. You know what I mean? So
we're just going to go right into the main movies.
Motherfuckers know who Wolverine is. We don't need to show him growing up in Canada and find out he has got claws. They know he is. The Schnick, and the sound, and even hearing or seeing him smoking a cigar, people are going to know who it is or whatever, you know. And
all you need is somebody sitting at a bar and say, "Hey, bub." That's all you need.
Oh my god, that would be
know.
Like if they try to mug him and you hear the schnick and you just hear him going, "You don't want to do that, Bob." I'm like, "Oh, come on, Bob." Like just that would be enough. So I wouldn't be surprised. It'd be amazing.
I mean, I got to be honest. I think like I'm sure they've had like they have all their thoughts. You know, they're they're well laid plans for when the merger went through and everything like that.
And he was on set for 3 days. Hugh Jackman was seen on set 3 different days while they were filming this, and he had told Kevin Feige several times, "If you guys make Avengers vs. X-Men the first Phase 5 movie, I'll reprise my role."
Yeah.
But I don't think they're gonna. But I think this might be a way for him to give that one thing to the fans, going, "I know you want to see it, but here's what I can give you." If it is him who does it, if it's him who did it, he would have had to say something.
See, I just don't. So you really, I don't know that I think that I feel like that I believe they're going to throw something in this movie. I feel like they're going to wait, like kind of like almost like back to like what was it in Hulk when they showed Tony Stark for the first time, you know, like that kind of thing. Like maybe
they might not.
I don't know.
I'm just saying they saw he was seen on set 3 different days while he filmed. So
yeah, I don't know. Don't you think at this point, like you want a new Wolverine? Like
they won't.
Yeah.
Hey, another insider. I'm not going to say
another insider.
Another insider. May have talked to someone in the club and said that Hugh Jackman is not coming back. May have confirmed the Deadpool 3 and may have confirmed a X-Force movie, but Hugh Jackman is not coming back.
Yeah, no, he's not. He already said that before. He said they would have had to do it. They would have had to notify him. He said it like 3 weeks ago because somebody asked him in an Australian show, and he would have said, "It's not." He's all, if that was the plan, they would have had to tell me about 2 or 3 months ago. He's all, because he's 50. He's like, at my age, I could do it. He's all, but I can't do to my body what I can't get ready in 6 months like I used to be able to, or a year. Like he's like, I would need like a year and a half to start getting ready. So he's all, I'm not killing myself to get to a point to film. He's all, I would need to be able to just like max get to peak physical condition, film for 2 months and be able to just stop. So he's like, it's not me. I didn't film, but I'm just saying, if he did film that little scene, it would be awesome as a nod to the fans. Be like, hey, sorry, didn't happen, but yeah, he's not coming back.
Plus, it's going to be Zac Efron.
Yeah, I mean, so I saw the Zac Efron thing, and like, I immediately recognized that it was posted on the 1st of April and all this other stuff. Yeah. But then I heard some people that were saying like, oh no, I've heard that before. And I don't really care. I kept looking at the picture and kept looking at all the stuff, and I'm like, I think that actually could work. I mean, I don't think
like a year and a half ago.
Give me my Zacky poo. I'll take it.
Yeah. I think that would look. I mean, I never heard that before. Now, like, and I turned to my wife when I saw it. I'm like, what's Zac Efron? What's he in? She's like, High School Musical, and started naming everything else. I'm like, yeah, that's fine. Whatever. It doesn't matter. It's no different than what's the guy from Twinkle from Twilight there that was supposed to be the
Robert
new
Pattinson?
Yeah, the new Batman or whatever. Yeah. I don't really care. Like, they're good actors. They know what they're doing, and they're younger, so they'll be in it for a long time. I think that would be a great fit. And
some points for him. He's physically more close to the character that Hugh Jackman.
Yeah, he's like short and
he's built like a motherfucker.
Yeah, right.
He comes from a musical background, just like Hugh Jackman did. Yeah, and 3, he filmed The Greatest Showman with Hugh Jackman. Right, so don't think for a second that if there was a possibility, if Hugh liked him, guaranteed if Hugh heard a whiff of, oh, we're looking at this guy, I guaranteed he'd be like, hey, you guys should give a better look at him because he might be the guy.
Yeah.
Who knows?
I'd be down with that. Yeah, absolutely. All right, so while we're on this topic, because who cares? We might as well keep going. So let's say we get through all this stuff, and we have the next big team coming to the major screen, and they're going to bring it into the MCU. What's the next big movie? What's the next big storyline? The big one.
Avengers not X-Men.
Yeah. So AVX is what everybody's saying, and long term, obviously, another 5 to 10 years from now before we start seeing that stuff. You don't think so? Yeah. Galactus. That's what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the big one, like the next big build up to Thanos.
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like they're gonna go super big.
I think AVX will be what Civil War was.
Yeah, it would be like
that'll be the build up, like the mid build up to something bigger, which will be like a Galactus thing.
It's got to be like, I want it to be Galactus, that's for sure.
And they're gonna give. I think they'll give. They're smart if they give a guy who's got a proven track record, not of like 10 or 12, but like 3 or 4 really good movies with good budgets or even mediocre budgets, and see what he did, and give him Fantastic Four. Just let him run with it. Say, look, just don't do what the last guy did, but have fun with it.
I'm willing to bet all the money in the world that Fantastic Four is going to be a period piece. It's going to be a 1960s period piece.
I really hope it isn't.
It will. They will not do a modern Fantastic Four. I promise you. This is a bet that I don't think I would ever lose money on. It's going to be a period piece. Feige said that we want to do different things in different time periods. And this is going to be a period piece.
Well, Fantastic Four would fit that perfectly because what they do is fucking travel the universe and the time
race, Cold War space race. Like that would all work out way better than putting them in a modern time. Because modern time is
Chris Evans is Human Torch again, since he's not Captain America anymore.
He can reprise his role. He can reprise his role. I mean, I'd definitely be down to see that. Like, I would love to see Fantastic Four in standalone movies that are like timepiece kind of thing, and then kind of like the Captain Marvel thing that's going on now. They come back into the big movies, make their appearances. But you could bring them into.
You could very easily bring them into the future too. You could, because they're like all cosmic and spacey. So like, you could end one movie of them they're out in space. They're coming back to Earth, and boom, they get sucked into a time portal.
Yeah,
you'll see them again and then the next movie, boom, they're in 2019, 2020. And they could be from the 60s. So the movie could be about them, like Steve, figuring out how to live in modern times. And then they got to face Galactus, or they got to face him again, or face someone else. Like, there's the possibilities are limitless now for Disney and Marvel. People are saying comic movies, they're dying. No, they're just getting warmed up because the fountain of stories that they have access to now is just
it's the new action comic or the new action movie.
It's the new Western movie, actually. If you think about it, like the 50s and 60s, that's all they did was Western. So this is.
Right, that's what I'm saying. Any of those kinds of things, like it's the next genre that's really up and coming for decades. Like you've had decades of westerns, you had decades of, all those ridiculous action movies, but the good ones for like Lethal Weapon and all that. But
horror movies
horror movies, it's all always been there. But you had those times where like it was the pinnacle for those, and right now we're in it for comic books and. It's only, it's been a long time, but in reality, it's really only been 10 years for the Marvel stuff.
It feels like a long time, but no, it's only 10 years.
It's only 10 years. You got plenty more time for this stuff to really take shape.
And they're just doing it right. It's not like that's, how Star Wars was forced down our fucking throats lately to the point where we just said, no, thank you. When Marvel's doing it, they're doing it right, and we just eat this shit up. So they're not going to stop until we stop going.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, yeah.
I think that's
gentlemen, anything else? No, yeah. No. So I think the only thing we want to say is
that's going to kill us there, Mike.
Oh, we have a message from Ink Jedi.
Yeah, so message from Juan. The only thing that we have to say is the Sunday after the release of Endgame, we'll have 100% full of spoilers episode of the Fiend cast. Hopefully there'll be a whole bunch of us on here, and we're going to just talk about the movie. So it will not be spoiler free. We will be talking about every single detail about the movie. That'll be the Sunday after the release. So tune in for that. Hopefully we'll have another episode in between then and now and then. But outside of that, thanks so much for joining us.
For sure.
Appreciate everybody. like I said, if you haven't gotten your application in, you got 2 hours as far as the East Coast is concerned, but still too late. Gentlemen, thanks for joining us.
Yeah, for sure, guys. Have a great night.
All right, boys.
Absolutely. Take care, everyone.